Hello there metalheads and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I have another instalment of underrated albums for you. If you're not familiar with this principle, essentially these recommendations are albums that I feel don't get nearly as much love and appreciation as they deserve. And actually they're well worth your time, well worth the damage to your eardrums. So, for today's release, we are going all the way back to 2016 to an album from a US band, one of the biggest and most brutal deathcore bands around, who had explored a few different avenues and a few different styles on this crushing release. I'm talking Mark of the Blade by Whitechapel, certainly one of the heaviest deathcore bands around for certain. So this album followed on from a succession of very good, very heavy releases. We had Our Endless War, the album before this, that was very heavy. It had some great killer tracks on there. They're definitely a deathcore album, but it had started to explore a few different angles, different takes on deathcore, incorporating some of the sounds and styles of the new wave of American metal bands, and also quite a lot more groove and a lot more crunch in their riffs. Before that, we had the absolutely sublime self-titled album, Whitechapel, which was absolutely city-levelingly heavy. It was an absolutely devastating album, heavy as hell, certainly a high point in their career. By the time we get to Mark of the Blade, things have taken a different angle again. The deathcore angle aspect, with its characteristic really heavy crushing breakdowns, that's been toned down a little bit. Mark of the Blade is not as absolutely crushingly heavy as the Somatic Defilement, or should we say a New Era of Corruption. Not in that league of heaviness. However, it's still a brutal album. Heavy, deathcore, yes, but not as generically deathcore as some of their previous albums may have been. The album kicks off with The Void, and that is a very telling sign of where they're going. It's a little bit lighter, still heavy, plenty of groove, big guitar work, very prominent bass guitar as well, but it's not as furious. There's not blast beats all over the place. There's not, huge, great, crushing breakdowns. We haven't got that, but we've got some top-notch guitar work, top-notch musicianship. Phil Bozeman's vocals are absolutely brilliant. The title track is another good one, Mark of the Blade. Another heavy song. Different, yes, but it's certainly not a complete breakaway from what Whitechapel do, which is deliver crushingly heavy music. Elitist Ones, that is quite close to the Whitechapel of the previous album, Our Endless War, or previous to that, as another heavy song. Very heavy, we've got some really good groove there, great vocal delivery as well, of course, and a chorus that you can remember. It's very memorable. You can chant along to it, definitely. That's probably one of the heaviest tracks on the album. The most different is, of course, track number 4, Bring Me Home. It's the first track to feature Phil Bozeman doing clean vocals, and it is a chillingly emotive, beautiful song. Phil does amazing clean vocal performance. He sounds brilliant. The track is brilliant. It's still a heavy song. Definitely still a heavy song, but it's very raw and emotive. It's slower, very melancholic, very emotive, but it is a brilliant song. Tremors and Killing Industry, again, they're very heavy songs. Tormented, much more in the vein of the classic Whitechapel. Those 3 tracks there previously mentioned, of Tremors, Killing Industry and Tormented, definitely more attuned to the Whitechapel of the previous material. However, Brotherhood, good song, but an instrumental piece. Dwell in the Shadows is a heavy song, but it's much more of a chant along, moment. Certainly a very memorable song. Very good, definitely, but not as heavy as Whitechapel have been known to be. But the two closing tracks there, Venomous, which is probably the other heaviest moment on the album, some seriously formidable guitar work there, heavy breakdown riffing. And then we've got Decennium, which also features a little bit of clean vocal work, very good clean vocal work, but it's a longer song, over 6 minutes long. But that is far more, as I've mentioned, sort of the new wave of American metal inspired song. It's a good song. It's heavy, definitely. It's not straightforward generic replication of deathcore. This album tries a few things differently. Few different takes, few different sounds on things, but it's a damn fine album. If you're a fan of more traditional death metal, I still think there's a lot here that you would be able to appreciate. If you're a deathcore fan, again, there's still a lot here to enjoy. Mark of the Blade is a damn good album. It's Whitechapel exploring something new. I happen to have it in this rather nice box set form with some rather interesting little extras, including early demos, a stencil, and a marker pen, along with a nice keyring as well. But yes, what do you think of this wonderful album, Mark of the Blade? It's not my favourite Whitechapel album, no, but I don't think anything could really top that self-titled album for me. That is one of my favourite albums, certainly one of my favourite deathcore albums. What do you think of Mark of the Blade? If you're not familiar, check it out and then let me know what you think. I'm very interested to hear. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and do check back soon for more reviews, more words of all things good and heavy. You take care, my friends. Stay heavy.